Okay, and just say this is for the listening post into the camera?
This is for the listening post.
Okay. What does the WPEA do for regular federal employees that it does not for national security employees?
Well, the good news for federal employees is that they now have the strongest free speech rights in history and a fighting chance to defend themselves when they defend the public, which has been an act of professional suicide for decades. The bad news for federal employees is that their rights still aren't as good as those available to corporate workers who blow the whistle. The government workers still don't have access to jury trials to enforce their free speech rights when there's retaliation. But they do have it better than the national security workers. Congress, through the House Intelligence Committee, cut out any free speech rights for national security whistleblowers, even operating within institutional channels, just trying to play it straight, doing their job, telling the truth to their boss, not covering something up in an official assignment, the right to be the messenger when there's bad news about our country's safety. They don't have that, even within ranks. The president, however, partially filled that vacuum. He created, through a presidential policy directive, like an executive order, free speech rights for intelligence community employees who blow the whistle on fraud, waste, or abuse, threats to our freedom from abroad or from our own government. The problem with those rights is that the rules to implement them will be drafted by the same agencies conducting the retaliation. So we have really a phenomenal act of presidential leadership to create free speech rights. But if I were a national security employee, I'd have real severe doubts whether they're worth the paper they're written on, at least for now.
Great. And then what fixes can be made in the future legislatively, if any?
The key fix is going to be to add jury trials to enforce the rights for federal civil service employees. This will give them the opportunity to seek justice from the citizens whom they're purporting to defend when they risk everything, sticking their necks out to blow the whistle. It inherently, structurally takes the politics out of justice in free speech disputes.
And Tom, is there any possible legislative fix in the future for the national security whistleblowers?
Well, we're sure going to keep working our heads off to get that. The Presidential Policy Directive is no substitute for codified, permanent, independent due process enforcement of the free speech rights President Obama created. I think our first job is going to be to try to get some decent regulations. There's 9 months for the agencies to work on them. And it's going to take many villages to have a successful campaign for fair rules of the game. After the dust settles from that, we'll be able to go back to Congress and say, this is no substitute for your leadership. Or we'll be able to say, somehow we pulled off a miracle and there's justice available now. But that's just what it would be.
We got it. That's great.
Oh.